Okay, so if there is a wider base of support, which is when the individual might be low and spread out, they're in a stronger position with a larger base of support, meaning they're more stable. Stability can be increased by lowering the centre of mass, keeping the line of gravity within the base of support, widening the base of support, making more points of contact. Instability can also be created by lowering the base of support, by increasing the base of support, and they are more stable during this. So there may be so they'll have less base of support, meaning less points of contact and everything. Instability is also created when the centre of mass moves outside the body, moves outside the base of support, meaning there's instability causing the person to move. This can be seen when they cartwheel, when they lift up their leg. This may move the centre of mass to their leg, meaning they'll do a rotation there. And then move on to the method of data collection. Before taking part, the individual must complete a PAR-Q, begin warm-up, and have the protocols explained to them. The software uses VidCon. It allows you to get a motion capture and able to look in very high detail at the players' joints and angles. Meaning you can easily analyse and correct the technique needed and able to see which angles produce the best force. This is done through 3D motion. However, 2D is a simple camera on a tripod. However, it captures the whole body and not much detail. It can be slowed down massively to properly analyse it. However, the downside from VidCon is that it's extremely expensive. The camera would have to also be set up correctly. Taking into account the camera settings, the height of the camera and the distance from the subject, making sure that it records the whole of the individual, not missing out specific parts. The angle which the camera should be recorded at, and the planes of motion. The planes is very relatable to basketball as the individual is moving around, meaning the camera should take into this account and be in a position which causes the whole movement. If there are bad images, this creates bad data which can lead to wrong and invalid conclusions affecting the validity of the research. Other camera settings can also be taken into account. This includes the sampling frequency, which is the frame rate, the shutter speed, the focus of the camera, and iris. Frame rate is the number of individual frames which compromises your video. It's normally done with super slow-mo, which is high-speed cameras recording over 1,000 frames per second. The more frames, the better quality it is. The shutter speed is the length of time whether the camera is exposed to light. With the quality of the shutter speed, it shows that in a more depth and detailed picture is used more useful than a poor quality. The focus of the camera is also important to consider whether it will be done manually or automatic. If it is out of focus, it will capture. If out of focus, it will capture a bad picture and will just be blurry, meaning conclusions can't be drawn from this. The parallax error is related to the perspective error. It takes readings at a parallel level. However, this is different depending on the height of the camera. This can be corrected by making sure the camera is in the correct position to measure it accurately. Vertical reference is the frame refers to the complete image captured at the instant in time. Therefore, the frame rate of the sampling frequency is in full images, which is captured per second. Horizontal scaling is enabled to a true vertical frame of reverse to be established. Clear vertical reference such as a plumb line must be recorded. The wide motion analysis system will also allow a correction for a non-vertically aligned camera using coordinations of vertical reference. We can then look at the data we've gathered during our jumps, and by comparing this weaker athlete, which is Jack, who's number 1 on the graph, to a more powerful and better individual who's 6, and we can also see the means during this. We see that individual has a higher mean power and net impulse resulting in resultant force. We can also see that this has proved to be more useful as a higher jump time in air. We are wanting to improve net pulse and impulse. Net impulse and the mean power mean there will be a large amount of force applied and power applied, meaning we're able to jump in the air for longer. This can be done through both resistance and plyometric training. From the data we see that athlete 1 has a mean power of 644, where number 6 has a mean power of 2,329, which is a huge difference. Net impulse for 1 is 141, whereas the net impulse for individual number 6 is 276, and the mean is 201, meaning Jack is below the mean for both power, which is 1,253, and net impulse. The time in the air for athlete 1 is 0.4, whereas the number 6 is 0.63. And for the mean is 0.51, therefore Jack is below this again. It shows that these factors play a role with increasing the amount of time in the air, as 0.20 is a lot difference between the two athletes within the air. By using plyometric and resistance training, this will create a larger amount of impulse in a shorter period of time, meaning that they will be able to jump quicker and higher. Resistance training increases muscle power, meaning a larger force can be applied, therefore gain this extra height. We then look at the mean velocity, acceleration, and duration of phases for each participant. With participant 1 having a mean velocity of 2.3, a acceleration of 4.58, and the duration was 0.54. And the mean velocity is 3, acceleration 5.89, and duration of phase 0.53, which kind of average, and it was similar to Jack's. Compared to athlete 6 though, the mean velocity is 3.4, and acceleration 8.45, and duration was 0.405, meaning that they performed the action very quickly with a higher velocity and acceleration, meaning the duration of phase decreased. We can then see the velocity and accelerations are higher than Jack's, creating a shorter duration as it was much quicker, even though they jumped higher and generated more force. We can see that these factors play a role in how quick you are able to bend down and then jump back up during the most power. These contribute to the speed of the whole movement, showing that Jack's could be improved by increasing the velocity and acceleration. With all these factors contributing to jump height, it's obvious to see that Jack had only jumped 0.20 centimeters, whereas the other participant has managed to jump 49 centimeters, and the mean was 32 centimeters. Therefore, Jack has been below in every single thing that he's done, except the duration of the phase. We can improve by improving on the plyometric resistance training. This means he'll be able to generate more power, able to bend down quicker, increasing the velocity and acceleration, and therefore he's able to jump higher. Thank you for listening to my 6.3 notation analysis. Numerical model, not notation analysis, numerical model.